So I've been using the AD1200 Pro for over a year now, and I thought I'd do kind of a review video for it. I just wanted to talk about why I bought it, how I use it, and who it's for. So I bought the Godox AD1200 Pro because sometimes my Westcott FJ400s that I was using just weren't enough. At times, when I was shooting outside in really harsh bright daylight settings, the 400s, they weren't enough. The power just wasn't there. Now, most of the time, if I wasn't in high-speed sync, they'd be fine. But as somebody who uses high-speed sync for portraits, for like senior portraits, the power just wasn't enough and I knew I needed more. So I bought the Godox AD1200 Pro and it has definitely fixed most of those problems. So I bought the Godox AD1200 Pro because as a commercial photographer, we need to be able to control the light no matter what setting we're in, whether it's in the studio, whether we're on location. For a lot of my commercial clients, I get asked to shoot outside and they want a really nice balanced image. A lot of times they want me to balance the ambient light, the sky basically. They want to be able to see the sky and they still want to be able to see the subject. Well, if you expose for the sky, you're going to lose detail of the subject, so you got to bring it back with light. I did some skateboarding athletic photos last summer to be more exact, and the Godox AD1200 Pro did a really nice job. Now I was using hard light with a hard dish reflector, which adds a whole extra stop and a half of light to the thing, so that was really nice, but I was still able to do it. Would I have been able to do it with a soft modifier? I don't think so. I wouldn't have wanted to use a soft modifier anyway because I was balancing the light of the sun and I wanted to make it look like the subject was lit by the sun. I didn't want to make it look like it was lit by a strobe. And I think for the most part I did pretty okay. We went back again later that summer and we did the same exact thing. We did some more athletic skateboarding photos. I was balancing the sunlight and I needed more light on the subject because the one side of the subject was too dark. So I brought in the Godox AD1200 Pro and we did some really nice images once again. That's a pretty demanding situation, you know, having 100-degree weather and trying to stop action with a strobe. You need some pretty dark settings along with balancing the sky, of course. So those settings start to get pretty dark pretty quick, but the Godox AD1200 Pro did a really nice job actually. Another example of me using the Godox AD1200 Pro for more sports kind of photography was when I got invited to take some photos of dirt biking. We have a thing called hill climbs where they try to race up a hill as fast as they can or they go around a course as fast as they can. All the jumps, all the fun stuff, you know how it is. So I used again the AD1200 Pro because I wanted to balance the ambient light and I also wanted to be able to stop the motion and freeze them in midair or whatever, so I needed some pretty dark settings. Here again, the Godox AD1200 Pro definitely delivered an exceptional job. The results look amazing and a lot of people were definitely very pleased with these photos. It was set to full power the whole entire time and I probably knocked off about 500 or more images in the day. And it did a really nice job. It kept up really well. Didn't misfire, it didn't do any of that at all. So it was really great. So as somebody who does a lot of product photography, the AD1200 Pro definitely over-delivers in this area as well. Sometimes 400 watts for my Westcott FJ400 again just isn't enough when I'm shooting through a bunch of diffusion and I have really dark settings of like f16, ISO 50, 1/200th of a second. You need a lot of light. I also really like using the AD1200 Pro because it has the color stability mode, meaning the Kelvin doesn't shift as much and it gives really accurate lighting and it gives really accurate colors because with product photography we definitely want the most accurate colors that we can get. We want to be able to represent the product as, again, accurately as we can, and having good colors is a good place to start when it comes to your lighting. And finally, the last case that I use this AD1200 Pro for is of course, portraiture. Whether it's inside or outside, this strobe definitely over-delivers again. I'm not going to talk about using the strobe too much in the studio, because 1200 watts is more than enough in the studio. Man, you can get away with a 100 watt light or a 200 watt light just fine. But when it comes to portraits outdoors, this thing does really well. Whether you're in high-speed sync or in just standard sync, this thing spits out a lot of power. There have been times where I have needed to use the strobe at full power, but that's not very often when it comes to my portraits, because I try to keep the light as close as I can to the subject. Where this strobe might struggle just a little bit, but not really, is using high-speed sync and using a giant modifier. I use a 50-inch modifier, and a lot of the times for like my senior portrait photography and sometimes my modeling photography, I will step into high-speed sync so I can get that blurry background. And as you probably know, when you step into high-speed sync, you do lose power from your strobe. But the Godox AD1200 Pro, it definitely does more than fine when it comes to high-speed sync. Even during the brightest days, this strobe over delivers once again. Most of the time when I'm in high-speed sync, I'll probably be shooting at a quarter power, so probably around 400 watts of light or so. That's probably as high as it'll go. There have been times where I have needed to step up to about half power, but that's not very often. But it's nice knowing that I have that little extra leeway if I really do need it. There have been a couple times where I needed to go to full power because I really wanted to stop down the ambient light and just get a really dark, dramatic, moody look. But I rarely do that because I actually try to balance the lighting as much as I can. But it's fun just to be able to push the strobe a little bit and see how dark you can get that ambient light. So this does a great job at that as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video about the Godox AD1200 Pro. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you loved it, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments about this strobe, let me know. I'll be sure to answer those. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video.